So, when I first learned of the Facebook message, the infamous Facebook message, I was very shocked because my mother had breast cancer, and my whole life we had grown up in an environment where preventative testing and care was very important, and we thought we did all of the things that we needed to do, despite her not having the BRCA gene but having breast cancer. So it was very shocking. It was 2 weeks before our wedding, and I got the phone call from Dr. Ekin Kramer and cried in my office and was very emotional and just felt a wave of anxiety come over me. But when I sort of calmed myself down, I knew that there were options, and Dr. Eckenkramer was phenomenal at talking me through those options. And ultimately, we made the decision to do the preventative surgery.
I don't think I was too familiar with the gene, and we had been through the genetic testing for other types of Jewish genetic diseases, and fortunately didn't have any that were overlapping in that regard. So, kind of thinking at that point, like, hey, we're good, we're in the clear, like, there's nothing to worry about here. I knew of some history of breast cancer in the family, but then this sort of like the ultimate twist or surprise of this that it wasn't on that side of the family. It was on the other side of the family that the BRCA gene came from. So if you were to combine all of that risk together, it's overwhelming to think about what the likelihood would be. So Morgan and I, it wasn't even a question. It wasn't even a conversation. Like, should we or shouldn't we do this? It was just like, of course we're gonna be proactive about this and do what we need to do. Literally, there wasn't a second of deliberation. It was just like, we're gonna do what we have to do. I knew she was suffering way, way, way more than I was suffering, and she was the one that was enduring physical and emotional pain. What was my pain as part of this? There is, and I don't think it's men supporting women doing this. I don't think you should just discount, that. I think that there's a time and a place. In that moment, I think you're just so focused on being supportive as best you possibly can be. Um, there's just there's a routine you have to follow. I mean, you go through the surgery and there's things that you have to do after the surgery, and you're just so engrossed in that moment of doing all of those processes, and gosh, it has to get done. It just has to get done. There's nobody else there who's going to do it. You do it, and you do it out of love. But the other thing is, Morgan's a strong New Yorker. She's tough as nails, and if she could handle this, she could handle anything, and I admired her all of the way for that. We talk about things, taking care of ourselves, knowing these sorts of things, not just for ourselves, but for our children, right? So for the next generation and the generation after that, that they can, A, be aware of it, and B, be able to make their own informed decisions to be able to do something about it. But if it is a case like ours, where you're supporting someone who has this, it's everything that you possibly can to go through every moment and provide that support physically, emotionally, everything that you can do. Um, it's a challenge, but to think about the opposite, it's incomprehensible to think about losing a spouse, especially someone that you've married and that you won't plan to spend the rest of your life with. You certainly don't want that to happen. So you're going to do everything in your power to help the person so that you can both stay healthy for a very long time. The previous generation didn't even know what BRCA was, right? There was no had no idea. This generation, we know and we can do something about it, albeit a very invasive and painful physically and emotionally procedures. the next generation, we can plan so that it won't even be in existence, that they won't ever have to give it a thought. So through careful family planning, hopefully that's my why, is that the next generation, they won't have to deal with this. What you're doing is an act of love, and you're doing it for the person that you love more than anyone else in the world.